What's going on, y'all? Cree here with a random video that nobody asked for. I've been doing a little bit of testing online, trying to figure out how exactly to play Blue Eyes in this format if you decide to play in this format. Personally, I'm taking a break from paper for reasons. But if I were to be playing right now and I didn't feel like picking up a Yummy Core for how much it was, and I wanted to play Blue Eyes, based on my testing, this is kind of the list we would be going with if I were to go to an event tomorrow or just have fun at locals playing Blue Eyes, because Blue Eyes is very fun to play. It's really funny. Yeah, let's get to it. So we're playing 2 of the Blue Eyes White Dragon. Obviously, 3 is a brick. We're not playing Codman in this build, but you can play it if you really want to. 3 Sage, pretty standard. 3 Maidens, pretty standard. This gets you into the rest of your Blue Eyes engine via True Light, which is going to get you to your 2 wishes. We cut it down to 2 just for more consistency, just because clumping on wishes feels really bad. You're maximizing the value you get off your True Light, and you're only ever really resolving this once. Well, you're only ever really resolving this twice, but you only ever really need to resolve it once. And then being able to use this graveyard effect is obviously pretty nice. So that's why we're only playing 2 of these. Game 2 and 3, you typically side this out. Well, at least I do. I side this out into 1 copy, but that's just me. You only really ever need to resolve it once to seal out the game. Your targets being Roar and Majesty. The less said about these guys, the better. We know why you play these. Underrated effect of Roar that we'll get into, though, is being able to banish it from grave to fusion summon using Blue Eyes. I've used this effect more times than I can count. Being able to swing into with Tyrant Dragon to clear the board and reset the Majesty, that comes up a lot. So definitely underrated ability of that card. Mausoleum of the White, not searchable via wishes, but you get it off of your spirit. You only ever really need to use it for the additional normal summon, but being able to get your Blue Eyes into rotation or get both of them out of the deck in order for Majesty to pop 2 cards is always really nice. For the Primate package, we're just playing 3 Ether Barrel, 3 Load, 1 Drill Beam. That's all you really need. I was messing around with 2 Drill Beam, but I found it to be a little too clunky for my liking. 1 is enough. I was playing 2 Justice Hunters, but especially now, just having the 1, because in this format, specifically with this deck, you want to see as little bricks as possible, and unfortunately 2 Drill Beams is just a little too bricky for my liking. For non-engine, the rest of this deck is going to be non-engine at this point in time. 1 Crossout. Everybody's non-engine is basically homogenized, so this is really, really impactful, really good. Triple Tag is talent. The Canine package is a thing. The Yummy is a thing, so being able to use this, even against VS, all their reveals and stuff happened in the main phase, so being able to do this to look at the rest of their hand is really nice. Sometimes you need to draw 2 cards, sometimes you need to take a body. Whichever effect you need. Called by the Grave. Everybody knows what this card does at this point. 1 Effect Veiler. It's searchable. You only ever need the 1. I know some lists are opting to play more than 1 as we're dealing with the glare of the camera, but in my opinion, 1 is fine. It's searchable. You don't want to open up multiple copies of these. Okay? 3 Ashes is strictly here to deal with the Charmies. For some reason people are playing Branded Draco Tail as well, so holding this for Branded Fusion is really nice. Sometimes you are going to have to use it on the Rahu Draco Tail if they start up with that, so that's something worth noting. Also, being able to use this as a choke point against Yummy for Cups is very good. Other than that, pretty solid. This does come up against like Stake Your Soul and Izunas as well, I suppose. Speaking of Charmies, 3 Perulia is standard. 3 Fuwa is also standard. Honestly, I'm like, if you can't get a hold of Perulias, I think you might just have to sit this format out, because it's such a strong non-engine piece. Same with Fuwa, but Fuwa is way more accessible right now. So like, in all honesty, just if you can't get it, borrow it or play online or save up for it. And then one nib, all you need is one. You're going to draw into it off the Charmies, and people tend to not go wide enough for this to come down, other than Yummy, in which case you have to have like Nib Veiler or Nib Imperm in order to deal with it, because they will have the Arclight. So, mainly this is used as a cross-out target, because I want to be able to go wide with this deck in this format. So, mainly there for cross-out. 2 droplets. This is pretty standard. One thing you're going to run into a lot is when you have a dead Wishes or a dead Lordly Load. Those are easy send-offs for droplet, because they will just clog up your back row space and your hand economy. So being able to get extra utility out of those is really nice. And plus, like, I guess occasionally you get a wombo combo droplet send nib. It doesn't. I haven't run into it in my testing, but like it does happen, I guess. And then finally, to round it off, 3 Imperm. People say things about Imperm because Vanquish Soul is in the format and they just bounce things back to the hand. But if you just hold this and time it right, I mean, it's still as impactful as ever in my opinion. But yeah. Then we have the Nib token there. Onto the extra deck. Pretty standard. 1 Neo Ultimate. Playing 2 Tyrant Dragons, because you're going to make the one. Well, typically you'll make one off of the Wishes, equipping the Neo Blue Eyes, and then you'll just be able to punch that way. But you also, again, are able to hard way make this with Roar of Blue Eyes from Graveyard by banishing Roar. Fusing off Blue Eyes and typically Aether Barrel. Go into your Tyrant, clear a board, reset your Majesty, reset your Imperm, and you're off to the races pretty much. For the Synchro package, we're playing 3 Spirits, 1 Lightstorm. These are the only ones that you're actually going to be able to sync. Well, no, you can synchro into this one too. Azure Eyes. So we're playing Azure Eyes with Ultimate Spirit, because it's come a few times where I'm able to go wide enough to establish double Spirit. And what you do there is you go to end phase, and if you get to end phase successfully, you use both Spirit Effect, summon Azure, summon Ultimate. In a new chain, Azure is a mandatory chain link 1. It does activate, unfortunately. So you cannot use it the turn that you activate Lordly Load effect to summon. But this way, you get to keep your Ultimate Spirit out, and you get to keep Azure out. And until your next turn, they can't be popped by card effects like Raigeki or the Vanquish Soul pops. And then Azure Eyes, during your standby phase, it gets around K9 because it's on the field. It'll just special summon the normal monster from your graveyard. So if you end on the double Spirit going into Ultimate Spirit and Azure, you got 4,000 and 3,000 defense to deal with for your opponent. And when they can't crack it, you get another 3,000 body. So that's pretty damn good in my opinion. And then we have Ancient Fairy Life Dragon, just to clear out the game. This has come up exactly twice in my testing. So, while it's not the most impressive extra deck slot, it is still kind of a necessary extra deck slot. Onto the links. Play 3 Spirit. Surprising, I didn't think I would, but I think I've had more games that I've burned through all 3 than I have games where I did not need to burn through all 3. And every single game, I was so glad that I had the 3rd copy. If I could, I'd play a 4th. Then we have 2 Heretic Seals. Genuinely, you could probably cut one of these to play a Typhon. I wouldn't fault you for it, because Typhon just feels really, really nice this format, being able to turn off Caesar Valius and stuff like that. But your call. And then the sideboard, obviously you just kind of want to kit it out for whatever event or meta you're going into. Me, I just like to keep it simple, stupid. So we have 3 Lancia because Malice is still here. Krishan K9 isn't in the format, and that's a very annoying deck for us to deal with in Blue Eyes. So you kind of want to be able to get rid of these things as soon as possible. 2 Storm, 1 Duster. Pretty self-explanatory. We're just nuking the back row, nuking the front row, carry on Wayward's on. And then you're going first cards, 3 Judgment, 3 Strike. I know other people are experimenting with things like Mistaken Arrest, Shared Ride, Raigekis, Pankratops, things like that. I'm just kind of keeping it simple. Board out the 6 Charmies, board in the 3 strike or the 6 Solemns. Call it a day. And last but not least, we have 3 evenly matched. These 3 are probably the flex spots. This can be damn near anything. I'm just playing evenly matched because even against things like Draco Tail and especially Yummy, like their end board does go relatively wide with things that they do not want to have to lose forever. So being able to go like Imperm on the Herald, enter battle phase, drop the evenly match at end of battle phase, you just kind of look at your opponent and they just have to decide what they're keeping because they can't tag out. Same thing with Draco Tail. None of their inherent back row really deals with trap negation. They only have spell negation. So being able to go into battle phase and just clearing out their board, like granted their board is only 4 cards in theory. It's Arthurian, Gamiel, and the 2 traps. But being able to clear them off the board, and like especially because they're only going to play like one of the traps, typically they're going to keep the trap and all you got to worry about is just, I don't know, MSC, whatever. Get rid of it. And that's that. So, with that being said, y'all, this has been Cree. If I were to force myself to play paper this format, this is what I've been bringing to the locals that I will probably go to once every 3 months. Until Justice Hunter's format is over and those decks are dead. But with that being said, y'all, this has been Cree. Hope you enjoyed today's video. And as always, until next time, have a good time.